Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where we are currently designing our MOHO probe, or rather our MOHO rover. Now, seeing as this is a MOHO rover, we should probably think about adding in some radiators. We don't need huge amounts of them. Maybe just like, not like that, maybe just that would be enough. Let's see. Oh my. But, that's too much. Maybe just like that would be enough. Although that's a little on the big side. Maybe just like a single radiator on the bottom. The main problem with that is if the shock absorbers don't absorb enough shock, this radiator would get destroyed. Maybe we just say it's good. Maybe it won't overheat. Because, I mean, this takes up a lot of space on the rover. There's no doubt about that. So, for now, let's just stick it on the bottom. If it gets destroyed, well, we just hope it doesn't. So we do definitely need a transmitter. Now, we don't need a super fancy transmitter, since we have a satellite in orbit with a relay antenna. So, I think, honestly, something... This would be plenty. This would be absolutely plenty. We could rotate this to be, not like that, something like this. It's not liking the snapping there. Something like that. What would that look like extended? That should be fine. Absolutely. Now we are going to need some power generation on this thing. How much charge can we hold in this rove mate? 120. I do feel like photovoltaic panels will be necessary. I mean, that's pretty obvious. How large are these when extended? That is actually pretty good. I believe this part is physics-less, so I don't think we're going to run into any problems with that impacting terrain. So I think that's fine. Now, we need a way to flip this thing back around if it flips. One of the things that I like to do on that is have a landing leg. That's too large of one. This is pretty decent. Have a landing leg, like, right here. And that's extracted. Or extended. So we have it kind of like that. And then if we flip over, we just push it out, and hopefully it works. We'll rotate it a little bit, but, I mean, it gets kind of awkward. Maybe we just say don't flip it. That's probably the best plan. We'll just say, don't flip this thing. Don't get going fast enough for it to flip. Now let's go ahead and slap on a battery pack, or a pair of battery packs. Maybe back here on the back. So like here and here. So that we've got some batteries. Just in case, who knows? I mean, MOHO is tidally locked, if I understand correctly. So we want to land, I mean, kind of on the border, I think, where we're not getting full-on direct sunlight, because that's a little spooky on the old cooling. But we also don't want to be in the night side, for sure. So let's go ahead and slap on here a couple of lights, just in case. Just a couple of headlights. One right here, and one right here. We're going to go ahead and rotate these guys to be facing, you know, forward-ish. Down a little bit is fine. And then same thing here. Down a little bit is fine. And then we will just go ahead and move these down. That's not what we wanted to move down. That's what we wanted to move down. And then let's also see if we can't embed these in a little bit. Hopefully that won't block the light. I suspect it won't. And this guy should probably move in this way slightly. Down slightly. Something like that. That looks decent. This is down a little too much now. There we go. That'll have to do. And then we'll need a few science experiments on this thing. Otherwise, what's the point? So we are going to put a KER on here, probably. Specifically, the computer flight unit. Well, no, we're not putting that on. That's too big as well. So let's go ahead and put a pair of seismic accelerators. I don't know. I think we only need one of these science experiments. One of these, because I mean, if we're impacting on this side, we've got other problems. We'll put on a thermometer. We'll put on a goo unit, although we're not going to get a huge amount out of that. We'll put on a barometer. And I think that's pretty much all we've got. We'll just stick on another seismic accelerator just to balance it out, just to be on the safe side. And now the question is, do we want to change up how we have this laid out? And the answer, I think, is yes. So let's go ahead and... those aren't the directions. There we go. Let's have the mystery goo be here. And then we'll put these guys over here. Like so. And then I think we can get a radiator panel crammed in on this top side. About like that. So that way we have two radiators and we can hopefully get off all of the heat that we need to. That should be more than enough. Now, the next question is, how do we deliver this thing? Well, I think what we do is we change up our design a little bit more. This is a rapid prototyping. So let's drop this seismic accelerator. It's a duplicate. Let's stick this barometer underneath this mystery goo as much as we can, because I want to free up some surface area. Because we need to deliver this guy somehow. So I feel like we do remove this radiator panel. And then right around here, we should have some sort of... well, we're going to need a connector on the bottom. How do I want to do this? Well, I want to do a quasi-sky crane sort of thing. It's not exactly a sky crane, but it's kind of similar. So the idea here is we put in a decoupler. Probably like a TD25 is way too big. TD18 is as well. TD12 is getting there. TD06 is maybe a little on the small side, though. So maybe we do go for a TD12. Now we'll have to rearrange our science experiments. And potentially our antenna as well. How do I want to do that then? Well, the goo can be moved to be like a nose. If the goo gets destroyed, that's actually fine. So we'll do that. The goo is now a nose. Excellent. These parts are physics-less, so we can kind of place them wherever. Like we could put the seismic accelerator there, and the barometer there. And then the thermometer, we could put... I mean, we could put it pretty much anywhere we wanted to. It weighs almost nothing. We can put it back here. That'll be fine. And then, as far as the communicatron goes, I think we're actually fine. So let's go ahead and get rid of all of these parts for now. We can recreate that. And we're going to save the Geraldo Mark I. And then we're going to go ahead and stick on some fuel tanks, or well, a fuel tank. And it's going to have to be a relatively small one. Like, I don't think... actually, T400 would theoretically work. And then we'll just do, like, a quad-coupled twitch. Like, about that. Now, this thing's thrust-to-weight ratio is rather high, but that's okay. How much burn time do we have here? 1.5 minutes. That's actually doable. So, let's run a quick simulation here. As you can probably tell, I don't make that many rovers. I don't have a rover design really ready to go, but I'm kind of digging this one. We can even get a seismic scan. We'll go ahead and do that. And let's recover it. Grab ourselves that data. Apparently we've never done that before. Sounds good. I mean, realistically, we should probably put this thing on every body we've gone to so far. But did we actually check mission control? Surface outpost on Minmus. Science data from space around Kerbal. We can do that immediately. Surface of Moho. We do want to do that. Okay. Excellent. Let's just finish that contract really fast to do science data from space around Kerbal. And we'll fly this guy. And we'll just get this done instantly. Okay, where is our thermometer on this guy? Here it is. Log temperature. Transmit data. Work complete. Back to the Space Center. That easy. That's some free money for us. How much did we actually make from that? 17,000 bucks. That's not too bad. And yeah, all these other things are fine. Plant flag on the moon. I mean, we don't need to go to the moon again, I don't think. Okay, so let's head back in here, and we'll try out the Geraldo. Just on the surface of Kerbal. So, here's our rover. We won't have this on here forever. In fact, we'll probably get rid of it pretty quick. Now, here's the thing though. This decoupler isn't going to really remove this very well. So essentially what we do is we land on the surface, throttle up, and decouple almost instantly. Unless we have an explosive decoupler of the same size. Which I'd be kind of surprised if we did. I mean, we've got stack separators. Jettison everything attached to them. We could swap over to a separator. That was what, a 12? Yeah. Okay, something like that. And let's see how this operates on the surface of Kerbal. It's not going to be exactly representative of Moho, obviously. But we have 920 electric charge. We will grab a seismic scan, but we may crash this. This is just a simulation anyway. So, our electric charge, how quickly will that go down with the lights on? Not very is the answer. Let's go ahead and extend our solar panels, see how this works. Okay. Looks like we may actually have some physics there. With that being the case, that's interesting. Yeah, we definitely have physics there. So let's go ahead and recover this. Grab that extra 0.6 science. That'll be sweet. And we're going to have to change those over to a little bit less fancy of solar panels. That's fine. No real concern there. So we're going to go ahead and drop these, and we're going to switch over to these 3x2 photovoltaic panels. They'll take up a little less space. Let's see how they look extended. Yeah, that's basically exactly the same thing. Let's go ahead and move them maybe up slightly. No, I want to select the photovoltaic panels. There we go. About like that. Excellent. And we'll retract that. And with any luck, now we won't have some wacky breaks. That was a little weird. So let's see how this goes. Theoretically, that should be basically all of the seismic accelerators that we need, at least here. So let's extend these solar panels. See how exactly that works weight-wise. Looks like they do have some interesting interactions with the wheels. We may have to angle them. Oh my. Oh my. Brakes on. Okay. Good to know. Now, let's turn the brakes off. Both of these wheels are currently turning. I'm not sure if we want that. Brakes on. Oop. Simulations OP. Okay. Let's revert that back to the launch. That was an interesting test there. We fell off the landing pad. That's always good. Now, the primary reason for that... Well, first things first. Let's go ahead and turn off steering on these back wheels and see how that feels. I would also like for... We could retract these wheels? That's interesting. Uh-huh. Well, we're going to fall off again. We'll go ahead and revert that back again. Apparently I turned it off for all of the wheels. The steering, that is. Okay, so yeah, that's with those on. So let's turn steering off here. Oh, right, because these are this way in terms of the symmetry. That's a little awkward. Okay, let's go over this way, shall we? Interestingly, the steering is inverted. So that's pretty fascinating. This thing can go pretty speedily, actually. Okay, so we flip over like that, and we have no real way to flip back if we flip. So we definitely need to restrict a few things. So let's go back to the vehicle assembly building. Okay, and now we obviously have too much power in these wheels. So, let's see here. Where is what I'm looking for? Well, for one thing, we need to invert our steering directions, like so. And I want to see what exactly happens if we do our stack separation and don't have our landing apparatus on top. I want to see just how speedy this thing actually is. So let's go ahead and eject this and see how exactly that flies off, at least on Kerbal. Okay. I mean, on Moho, it'll be a lot less in terms of gravity, but that wasn't bad. We can ditch that pretty easily. And then this thing gets up to some decent speeds, which we don't really want because we can do handy things like that. So let's go ahead and revert this back again. I like the separation. That works pretty well, especially on Moho. Because, I mean, our thrust to weight here on Kerbal is 2. Whereas on Moho, it'll be 7. So that's fine. Now, I do want to rotate these solar panels and have them be facing upwards a little bit, like so. Let's see how that works. Also, as far as these engines go, I do want to see... The main problem is that their symmetry. So let's ditch these guys, ditch their symmetry, or go to 4-way symmetry. Like so. And see what that exactly does. We'll change the rotation on this, of course. Now that's not awkward or anything. Okay, so 4-way symmetry isn't going to work. Gotcha. Well, let's just do 1-way symmetry then, so we can actually adjust these one by one. Now, we're not actually going to have exactly the same height, I don't think. But I'm trying to get similar heights. Okay, let's change our rotation here for each of these to be roughly parallel to each other. About like that one, I think, is the straight one-ish. No, that's not the straight one at all. That's the straight one. Excellent. Okay. And I believe this one is a little bit low. Oh, it's trying to snap. That's actually convenient. Let's allow it to snap. Because that way, we should have identical heights. Excellent. Now, I'd like to move this one... Well, are they snapped this way as well? I believe they are. Yeah, they're snapped. Excellent. So we'll move these to the back position, back here. Yeah, that is correct. Excellent. And then let's just go ahead and move this thermometer. And place it, I mean, somewhere like... I don't really want it snapped. Somewhere like here. This will be decent. And then we'll just, we'll have a duplicate. That'll be fine. We'll have a spare. Now what do these look like retracted? Well, that's a little awkward. And then they take up a little less space. But we're going to start them extended for now. Okay. So let's go ahead and do that. And then these ones back here, we are going to disable the steering. Steering direction on these is already inverted. And do we want this to be front wheel or rear wheel drive? We can always change it on the surface. So let's go ahead and make it front wheel drive. And disable these motors on the rear wheels so that hopefully we don't careen quite as much. Okay. That'll also have the benefit of making our batteries last a little longer, but like I said, Moho is tidally locked. We shouldn't have a problem with nighttime, unless we land in entirely the wrong place, which is our own fault. So let's see how these solar panels look extracted. Or extended. Okay. I mean, they're clipping into this tank, but that's kind of to be expected. Now, we don't appear to actually have the strength to move with these motors disabled. So let's try re-enabling these motors. Uh-huh. Why are we not able to move? That's intriguing. We were able to move just fine before, and we didn't add additional weight, really. Well, what happens if we re-enable steering back here? Is this the problem? I don't see why that would be the problem. Also, the direction on the motors is not the correct direction, which I think has to do with the placement of them, but that's okay. We can just simply reverse them. Yeah, that's the correct direction. But now we are not getting any speed whatsoever. Brakes are not currently on. We are tearing through our electric charge rather quickly. Okay. Let's see what happens if we extend this antenna with this thing on. Is that physics-less? It appears to be. Okay. So we're going to crash this. This is a simulation, though, so that'll be fine. Let's see what we got in terms of flight. Well, that's intriguing. I knew it would crash, but that was certainly intriguing. Okay. Let's go ahead and revert back to assembly. We need to change the positioning of these engines for sure. But I figured that would happen. I'm going to go ahead and put a cut in here, and next episode we'll finish up this rover. See you all then.